I'm kind of testing out Restream because I'm hoping to do more live streaming in the coming months. My computer is looking a little delayed, and I don't know if you're seeing it on your end. My computer is also ancient. Remember the never-ending story, Morla, the ancient one? That is my MacBook Pro. It's from 2015. So welcome if anybody's watching. Hi, how are you? I'm Natalia Reagan. I'm an anthropologist, primatologist, comedian, weirdo. I look like a disembodied head with a black background. So forgive my funky little studio. But I just wanted to give some updates on what's going on in my life. And I hope, gosh, it really is. My footage on my end looks like I'm kind of like, I don't know, in the Matrix. So hopefully it doesn't look too bad on your end. I've got a bunch of upcoming comedy shows. I have one next week. I'm doing the Uncle Clyde's comedy contest. Dan, oh my goodness, how are you? How's Denver doing? But I have a show next. Gosh, it's so good. Funny to see you on LinkedIn. I have a show next Wednesday, the 22nd at Flappers at 8 p.m. It's the Uncle Clyde's comedy contest. It's the one of the final preliminary, rounds. So be there, come on out. And I actually have a $10 discount link. So if you guys want to come, it's normally $25, but if you want to get in for a little bit cheaper, I know a guy and I'm the guy. So you give this guy an email and I'll get you in. I'm glad to hear you're doing well, Dan. Man, I don't know if I saw Brew recently on the picket lines. I was going to talk about the picket because that was wild times. I'm a Screen Actors Guild member and was out there pretty much every day the last few months in a banana suit, no less. And I actually got a bunch of folks to sign my banana suit when the strike ended. We still have to vote. We still haven't gotten the full contract given to us, but I got my banana suit signed by many of the strike captains. Jerry Ryan, who was out there every day at Warner Brothers, even though, it's the actors that didn't have to be out there, but they were out there because they care about everybody. That really warmed the cockles of my cold and dying heart. But yeah, I ran into Brew out there. It was awesome. It was a brouhaha. But yeah, so I have a show on the 22nd, and then I believe I'm opening for Hal Sparks on the 30th. I'm waiting for confirmation from him. And then I have a show called Varietyville. It's a variety show. I'm super excited about this. It's with Austin Walker, who I met on the picket line at Warner Brothers. Him and MC Gainey became kind of my crew. There was a small group of us that used to go to the doghouse across from Warner Brothers after striking. And he does a great variety show called Varietyville. I went to performance on Halloween, and it was so great. So I'm very honored to be one of the variety acts in the show. I'll be talking about bonobos and chimpanzees, and perhaps there'll be a Bigfoot cameo. Can't give too much away. Don't want to give too much away. But that's going to be December 7th, so be there. And then I have a show on the 12th for Story Collider. It's actually a virtual show. So if anybody, is in another part of the country or the world and wants to tune in, this will be the show is free itself, but you can bid and sort of sponsor and bid on the people that you want to win this story slam. So it's basically instead of a stand-up comedy show, it's story slam. So each person on the board, on the Story Collider board, tells a 5-minute story. I did it last year. It was a lot of fun, and I can't wait to do it this year. And then I have another show. I'm super excited about Horror Nerd. If you're familiar with Samantha Hale, she does a great horror nerd, not horror nerd. It's a whole different show for a whole different variety of reasons. But yeah, it's called Horror Nerd, and I'm going to be doing that on December 15th at the Improv Lab. So come check that out. And what else? There's so many shows. Oh, and tonight, oh my God, tonight I'm going to be doing This Week in Science with Dr. Kiki Sanford. I'm very excited. She does a great show, and I'm filling in for her co-hosts who can't make it. So I'll be her sidekick tonight, talking about the science that came out this week, and we'll sort of shoot the breeze about all the cool stuff that's happening out there, because there's always good, weird, wacky science coming out. And also, I'm leading a trip to Madagascar if you may have seen my videos talking about going to the Galapagos, that trip sold out really quickly and somebody canceled. So we have one extra spot for Galapagos. So if you're interested, that leaves February 28th to March 4th. And we'll be going to 3 different islands in the Galapagos. Lots of boobies, the blue-footed variety, and marine iguanas, which are basically like modern-day Godzillas, and the giant Galapagos tortoise. I mean, and then Darwin's finches. You know, we get to see a lot of the natural selection that Darwin talked about based on his journey around the Galapagos on the Beagle many moons ago. So I'm really, really, really excited to go on this trip. And actually, a good friend of mine, Beth Pratt, is going to be there. A lot of my friends. It's funny. It was a trip that I released, and I'm hosting these trips. So anybody that follows me can sign up. And 7 people who I actually know personally signed up, and that was so awesome for me because these are people I know and I love, and I they're from different like walks of my world, like life too. So it's like they're all going to meet each other. And we've already done we did a Zoom recently, and everybody just got along. So that was fantastic. But next we have Madagascar, which is May 28th through June 6th. Yes, sorry. I'm doing the math in my head, huh? Yeah, so May 28th through June 6th is Madagascar, and that's going to be leaping lemurs, such a good time. We're going to go to Ranamafana National Park. Oh, Lonesome George. Yes, Lonesome George was a wonderful Galapagos tortoise that is no longer. Didn't Lonesome George get extra lonesome and cross over the Rainbow Bridge? I feel like he did. He was like, I don't even remember, 120 or something ridiculously old. Lemurs don't live as long as the Galapagos tortoise, but they do. Primates live a good amount of time. So we're gonna go fraternize with some leaping lemurs. We're gonna go to Ranamafana National Park, which is home to at least 12 species of lemurs. So I'm super excited about that. And we have about, I think, 3 early bird spots left, and then it goes up about $175. But yeah, if you're interested, all of that stuff you can find it in my various links on my bio and whatnot. Yeah, and then I feel like this is just like promo. And I've not done this before, the restream on all these channels. So forgive me if like you're watching this and you're commenting and I can't see it, because right now I can only see LinkedIn. So I don't know how that works. I might be doing this wrong, or maybe nobody's seeing this on the other things. We're working it out because I would like to do more of this. And I did a wonderful live stream. Oh, wow, I've frozen. I hope this is not my computer, guys. This is why Mama needs to make a bag of money, because just a big pile of money, because this computer is like on. I mean, right now it sounds like a jet's taking off inside my computer. It is just, it's getting on a jet plane, and I don't know when I'm going to see it again, because it's taking off. So yeah, I need a new computer. Falling apart. Everything, my body's falling apart. Although I just got a mammogram, and I got to say, my tatas got the seal of approval. We're good there. And that's a reminder to those folks that had not gotten their regular checkup like you should. Please go do it. The same day I got my mammogram, somebody I know was diagnosed with breast cancer, and she's fairly young. And these are the reasons why, just keep a lookout. Get to know your tatas. Buy them dinner. Talk to them. Ask them their thoughts and feelings. And also, if you have a family history with breast cancer, genetic testing is a great option. My friend Dina Goldberg she's an amazing genetic counselor, and does a lot of videos about the benefits of genetic testing, and then also does it herself. So if you're interested, she does a lot of like concierge genetic testing and then analysis. So yeah, definitely check out Dina DNA and on, I think, most platforms. So definitely check her out. She's also a dear friend, and I love her to pieces, and she's beautiful and amazing. And I'm singing her praises. What else? Yeah, so those are the shows coming up, and yeah, make sure you take care of your health. Go get those screenings, guys and gals. You got a colon, go get that looked at if you're over 45. Talk to your doctor. Family health's a big thing. See, Dan knows what's up. Gotta make sure I take care of that. I can do a little show and tell. One of the other things I've done is on my Instagram page. This is another thing I'm trying to figure out is how to stream on all the things. I don't think you can stream on Instagram and on the others at the same time unless I have like multiple, like a multi-camera setup, like it's like a sitcom. I grew up, if you don't know this, I worked on the Drew Carey Show for years across the street. I live across from Warner Brothers. And I'm used to that multi-cam setup, but I don't have that here. It's just the computer that's about to die. But on Instagram, I started a page called Smoking Chicken Cards, because if you've known me for a while, even like a year or so, you know that you've probably gotten a greeting card from me, or at least you've watched me doodle in front of you. But I make greeting cards, and I used to sell them for years at Sony Studios. They're called Smoking Chicken Cards. And the tagline was, I draw animals that drink, smoke, and sleep around so I don't have to. That was my tagline. And yes, I did this in my early 20s. I started doing it when I was in high school. My high school boyfriend's parents still have a lot of my cards. They have this really, it's very sweet. They have this dish that they have, like anytime they get cards for the holidays, and they have my cards from like 1995 in there. And they're very rudimentary. Still, they're kind of, I don't know. Do I have? Yes, I do. Some of them, they've gone through like different stages through the years, but like here, this is just an example of, you can see, this is a thank you card with a dog in a beret, with a chicken laying eggs being carried by balloons, and it just says thank you. And then what I do is I add a little tattoo on the butt of animals, and that's how I personalize, and I'll put like whoever's name I want to say thank you to. Here's some Santa cards. I think it says, oh yeah, naughty or nice. Sometimes I like write things like, I've heard you've been a ho ho ho. Just cheeky crap, what you'd expect from me. I love doing the smoking chicken with a giraffe as if they're, weird interspecies lovers, like you do. And here's some more, like I started using calligraphy pens and kind of these Japanese, almost like watercolor pens that give it sort of a painting feel. This one says, fuck this shit, I'm going home. I feel like I can relate to this card quite a bit when I'm at a party. And then there's a rabbit just saying, fuck yeah, fuck yeah. So, this is a classic. This is actually a redo of a card I made when I lived in New York. I moved 12 times in New York City, very New York experience. But the last year and a half, I was in Red Hook, Brooklyn, and I had a quarantine. When COVID broke out, I was living in Red Hook, and there were 2 chickens in my backyard. And Carol and Jeanette became my quarantine. And I drew a lot of smoking chickens already, but then I really got pumped up. And this says, hey girl, want to get high and dismantle the patriarchy? Classy stuff. And then she's just saying, fuck yeah. But yeah, my mom actually, it's so funny, when I moved back home to Los Angeles from New York, I had an apartment fire that expedited that move. My mom, how did she get, she sent my old cards, because a lot of my old cards were still in my mom's house from when I moved to New York. I put stuff in, she was very kind. She let me store stuff there, and she would send me my own greeting cards as like check-in cards, which was one of the sweetest things possible. But so anyways, point being, I'm getting back into doing this because let's face it, mama needs some money. This year has been really rough. I feel like, especially for a lot of freelancers that I've talked to, more so than usual. It's been like a lot of promising from companies and organizations and under-delivering for whatever reason. Sometimes budgets get cut. People, I've had a few situations where I've gotten hired by people and then they were let go. And so that affected my position. So yeah, I'm putting that out there. I also, you guys, I make art with my boobs. Make art with my boobs. Like one does. Hold on. Here you go. This right here is a nice little tip of the old hat, because this was a big part of my life. Up, so make different animals, like the smoking chicken and the puffer fish. Yes, these are, by the way, made with one single boob. I call them my one-tit wonders because I'm a weirdo. And hold on. But wait, there's more. This was an attempt of doing a sloth, but it instead looks like a weird, sexy burglar. Not much of a sloth. We're working on the sloth. The sloth will get better. But in the meantime, we've got my hooters. Here we got this owl looking quite sexy. So yeah, that's what I got. That's what I got. And but I just wanted to give everyone an update. What's going on? Lots of shows coming up. Check it out. Burbank next week at Flappers. Again, the following week at Flappers. Varietyville on December 7th in Hollywood at a place called the Broadwater. And then, oh yes, December 12th, I'll be doing a show for for Story Collider. We're going to be doing our virtual story slam, and that's a fundraiser for Story Collider, which it's basically storytellers telling stories that have elements of science. Yeah, I do live things every so often. How are you doing? I owe you an email. I have been up to my eyeballs in strike stuff, and now that that's over, I'm kind of catching up on everything else that has been going on in my life. But yeah, I do a lot of Instagram, and I was doing a lot of TikTok lives for a while, but then the audiences on TikTok got a little blue, a little quickly. You know what I mean? A little inappropriate comments, and I can be inappropriate in my own way, but like taking it a little too far. So yeah, I would love to. I still want to do a live stream with you as well, because I'm doing one tonight with, I don't know if you know, Dr. Kiki Sanford for This Week in Science. We're doing a live stream tonight. I'm doing that starting, I think, at 8 p.m. And I'm going to jump off in a minute and kind of go over all the science articles that we're going to be discussing. There's some good stuff, some really good stuff that we're going to be doing and covering. And then I'm doing a live stream show with a friend of mine called Natalia and Kai and Natalia present Babes in Boyland, where we talk about dating, and I bring the science element to the dating. Like last week, we talked about body counts, how many people you've slept with and how absurd that is. And I brought up different animal examples of how that's only a evolutionary benefit for the females to get around. So, oh, hold on one second. What does this say? Okay. Oh, someone's offering me something. I'm getting offered a promotion now in the chat. Thank you. Thank you so much. Are you going to post that here as well? I think so. Well, Babes in Boyland is actually on my friend's page. It's called Date Like a Woman. And she does a lot of videos. She's great. Her name's Kai Nicole. She wrote a book called Date Like a Woman, which is kind of a play on the whole Kevin Samuels Date Like a Man and finding a traditional woman. And she really rails against this idea of traditional women. And she's a great, staunch feminist and suffers no fools. So she and I met because a science enthusiast posted one of my videos on Facebook. And it was about how I get told a lot of times that I don't look like a scientist because I'm a woman. And that's a problem, because usually it is males that have historically done a lot of the science, and you get very biased science. And I use the example of how they just counted all the nerve fibers on the female clitoris. And she responded, yeah, no, bias in science is real. Like black women die at much higher rates during childbirth than white women. And I was like, yes. I mean, it's a much more morbid example of how, when women and people of color are not included in the science or even in the medical fields, that it's a huge disservice to those populations that are being underserved, really. So we talked about that, and that's kind of how we bonded about how we can be better. A friend of mine, hold on one second, gets that all the time too, as if, well, yeah, so your friend gets that they can't be a scientist, right, because they have breasts. In my because I do stand-up comedy, and my stand-up bit is about, like, I can think of a couple reasons why I don't look like a scientist, and I use my Bob and Bobita, which I named my boobs as an awkward 12-year-old girl, which then I make even more awkward because I point out that my grandfather, father, and brother are all named Robert, so they're family names, and shall be respected as such. But yeah, no, it's true. I get told that quite a bit. I even posted a video on YouTube recently, for Madagascar, trying to get people to sign on up, and the response was, I said I was an anthropologist, and the response was like, "You're an anthropologist? Like, get out of here!" And it's like, because I dared to look feminine. And I mean, that's another thing, is like, I know that a lot of women in my field have felt a pressure because you don't want to look too feminine or too attractive, because that could be seen as threatening to female academics, or send the wrong message to me. It's just, there's like this like weird line that we have to walk, and it's like we're getting to the point where, like, screw that, screw any line. You know what I mean? Like, just do what you want, what makes you feel comfortable. Because that's silly. It's absolutely, it's no different than, like, I went to church camp when I was a kid, and I remember the girls weren't allowed to wear bikinis because we were distracting the boys from God. And I was like, wow, that God's real, real powerful. My prepubescent titties are going to distract a boy from him. Like, what? It's crazy. So, yeah. So I'm very much the feminist that I feel like I believe that women should be able to wear and do what they would like. Yeah, it's time. The world does need to grow up. It's tough. I feel like sometimes we make small steps, and then we just kind of take a few giant leaps back every so often. But yeah, and being complacent is a problem, right? I think a lot of young women and girls I know for a while, didn't want to identify as a feminist because it was seen as something like harsh and not attractive and this and that. And it's like, when you start becoming complacent and not, being diligent against, dare I say, the fuckery of, like, say, anti-choice activists and stuff like that, that's when they make gains, like overturning Roe v. Wade. It's just like, you have to constantly be diligent and not let your guard down. That there are people out there that want to see women in a subordinate place in the world, which, no, thank you. No, thank you at all. But anyways, yeah, that's kind of what I just wanted to check in. I'm curious because, so you're seeing me on YouTube. It's nice. Thank you so much for saying hi too, because like I said, I don't use Restream very often. I usually stream or live stream on Instagram and TikTok. So I haven't done this whole multi-platform. And my background, it's not exactly the sexiest background, although I don't know, it's very goth. I feel very like, here, I'll even make it gothier by holding my solid gold Paranthropus boisei skull. Or even, hold on, it's going to get even more gothy up in here. You're not even going to be able to see this. This is Paranthropus ethiopicus, this is boisei wearing ethiopicus like I had. Hold on. This is actually not to scale, but we 3D printed this a couple years back, a year ago. And then this, I can't believe it, but this was my Valentine's Day present, because who says love is dead? It's very dead. In this case, my boyfriend 3D printed this. It took 4 days to print this bad boisei. Yeah, that was a bad hominin joke, because this is Paranthropus boisei, one of my favorite all-time hominins. And I always love to point out, it's hard to see kind of because the light is blinding, but they had ridiculously huge molars, which originally they called it Nutcracker Man, Mary Leakey, and the crew that discovered it, and it's now thought that instead of cracking open nuts, it was more about chewing and grinding sedges and grasses. He's a keeper, right? Like, I mean, come on now. This is what a present, my boyfriend and I have gone through some pretty tough times in the years that we've been together. We've been together 2.5 years, and it's just been a bit of a roller coaster. And it's like, quite honestly, this is the best Valentine's Day present. Like, give a girl what she needs, which is a life-size Paranthropus boisei skull. Solid gold. So it really is my fave. I love it very much. So, and we actually were trying to, do I have some little, oh yeah. We were toying with, and this is like, okay, this is like a fail pyre. This is me telling you about my failures. Um, oh yes, yes, I do need help with streaming. I absolutely do. I think anybody who's watching, which I believe there's a whopping 3 people who are watching, yes, I would love help. And I do. I right before I started, I was like, son of a biscuit, I need to email you, because I just, if I, I don't want to go into it, but it's just been one of those few months where it's been nonstop work, but not necessarily work that paid, but work to get the work that pays, which is an extra added element of stress. So now I'm like airing my grievances. But now with the strike being over for a moment, we haven't voted yet, but I have more time, and I would love, love, love to talk to you about that and do shows together. I think it'd be great. I have lots of weird skulls and um, yeah, stories, science, things that I can just pull out of my butt. Boob paintings, so many boob paintings. But one of the things we were trying to do, but we realized we could not do because these skulls are copywritten. So this is for my own. This is my own personal collection. I cannot sell or make any money from that, which totally fine. That's the way it is. But we were going to make little guys, and this is actually a beautiful little tiny high resolution mini version of Paranthropus boisei, but I made it into earrings and a necklace. And I also had like ethical concerns too, because I never want it to appear like I'm being glib about somebody, because I do see these, even though they're pretty far back, but I see them as human. But then again, I wear human skulls all the time, like not real human skulls. I feel like I need to like preface it with that. I wear like, skull and crossbone scarves and shirts and all that kind of stuff. But I also just didn't want to make sure I wasn't being glib or disrespectful to the dead. But more than anything, I just absolutely love the skull. But we can't do that because of copyright issues. But we still might do extant living animals, right? Like a cat or a dog or a coyote or different bird species. If we can, those skulls are not copywritten. So there's that. We shall see. Okay, I'm probably going to get going because I'm going to jump into some research. Yeah, it's been a busy, busy day. I just submitted a workshop proposal for a conference. Actually, 2. I'm on one that I'm very excited about doing improv with anthropologists with a great crew of people. We did it last year. Amanda and Mark did. I will give them mad credit because they did most of the work, I feel like, last year. And oh, hold on, that's a good question. Hi, how are you, Joe? Oh my goodness, good to see you. I'm trying to do more lives. So this is me attempting that with my very dark and ominous background and this is what I realize how pale I am. Yeah, good to see you. I hope Rhode Island is doing well. I would love to come back there one of these days. But yeah, I turned in a proposal for an improv workshop, and then also to do like a TikTok, Instagram workshop, so I can help teach anthropologists how to do like an elevator pitch, right? Like I want to do a 30-second quick little, synopsis of who I am and what my research is, or a 1 minute long, breakdown of my recent study. Fun ways of editing, fun ways of writing, getting outside of their comfort zone. So we'll see. It may happen, it may not. But the meetings this year are going to be in Los Angeles, which is very exciting for me. Stressful because I want to make sure. Oh, yay! Dinner's on you. I'm coming. Let's get. I don't know. What do you like to eat? I'm a vegetarian, so I'm pretty easy, pretty open. Um, but yeah, I'm excited about this conference. I'm just nervous because I want to make sure everyone has a good time. I want to make sure everyone gets to see enough of my city, and I'm gonna try to do a field trip with anthros. They're already going to be at the Natural History Museum downtown, but also La Brea Tar Pits. Yeah, I know that might be sold out though because there's so many people that are excited about going. So I don't know. We'll figure it out. Yeah, it has to be close to downtown because that's where the conference is. So, anyways, it was really great talking to everyone. Anyone have any questions? Burning questions. I'm going to be on This Week in Science tonight at 8 p.m. if you want to watch me just do my thing there. I'll probably be talking about science and whatnot. And oh yeah, I was on the History Channel 2 weeks in a row. That's fun, right? The first week I was talking about permafrost and nematodes. Roundworms, can't get enough of that. Yeah, essentially they were burrowing into permafrost. And permafrost, this is the crazy thing about permafrost. Permafrost is basically ground that it's permanently frozen, right? Like it cannot melt because it's too cold. And because of climate change, which anthropogenic causes are, warming the earth, more greenhouse gases in the atmosphere, but that's warming things up, and permafrost is melting, which can be very problematic because as it melts, all that organic material that has been frozen and unable to decompose is now decomposing, which releases even more greenhouse gases into the environment. So it's like climate change causing climate change. And in that permafrost are different bacteria, viruses, like zombie viruses are waking up and they're like, brains, And also, they burrowed deep into the permafrost and they found nematodes, a new species of nematode or roundworm that immediately just started laying eggs because these nematodes are female only species. There are some species that are female only, so all they have to do is just start laying eggs, and that's what they did. And I made a dumb joke. I don't think they used it, but I don't have History Channel, so I haven't even seen it. But basically, mother's job is never done. She immediately oh yeah, and by the way, these nematodes were frozen for 46,000 years. It's a long ass time. And then there was a woolly mammoth, because that was one of the questions they asked was like de-extinction. Could a woolly mammoth reanimate after being frozen? It's like, no, that's not going to happen. But the bacteria in their gut could wake up and then cause havoc, right? And this is the thing that's scary when we talk about climate change. We talk about diseases moving further north. We got that, like Zika or dengue or yellow fever. But what we don't also talk about is the fact that diseases are waking up. Like, oh, what's this new species? Humans? There's so many of them. Kill. Like that's kind of what could happen. So I read somewhere that we could reach a point of no return if the permafrost melts enough to release ancient pockets of methane. If we die from a giant earth fart, I'm okay with that. I mean, I can't vouch and say yes, that could happen, but I would not be surprised. Wouldn't that be like a wonderful, not a wonderful, but a terrible way to go, but also very poetic, that like a giant fart just ripped us asunder. Yeah, it's bad. It's one of those things that people don't realize, and unfortunately, there's so much money tied up in saying that climate change isn't real. It is. It's very real. It's just, it's it's funny, not funny. I need to stop saying it's funny because oftentimes I'm not referring to something that's funny. But I gave a little 2-minute talk to the Beverly Hills City Council last week about an abortion clinic that, even an extinction event fart related is funny, right? I feel like I did a podcast a few years ago about a giant crater in like Turkmenistan or something. Turkmenistan. Was it Turkmenistan? That was like, it was like a giant earth fart. It was amazing. And I'm like, there's something very funny and poetic. But no, I was talking at the Beverly Hills City Council because they basically let anti-choice terrorists really shut down the DuPont clinic from opening here in Beverly Hills. And I said to them, I said, of course, limiting safe abortions is never going to limit abortions from happening. It's just, limit safe abortions. That's all you're going to do is just limit the people that can have them, and more people will die or get hurt with, complications from a unsafe abortion. But none of those people on city council will be affected because they have the money and they know people in high places. Just like, for instance, with climate change, all these people that have, the ones that are going to be deeply affected are the ones that don't have the money or the access to, homes at high on mountains to avoid rising sea levels, or have, the access to healthcare to combat diseases that are awakening from permafrost. Essentially, like the rich people will be fine, and that's why they don't give a shit. They won't be fine forever, though. That's the thing. At a certain point, they're gonna have to give a crap. Um, yeah, things have to go very wrong first before people pay attention. Yeah, it's interesting because it's like it's kind of like this idea of like reproductive success, where it's not just reproductive success is not just you having kids; it's your kids having kids. And I feel like as soon as our reproductive success is being challenged or threatened because like, oh, the world might not be hospitable in 10, 15 years, right? Now I'm going to give a shit. But sometimes people still don't give a crap, right? And also on top of that, um, there are a lot of people who don't want to have children because of the state of the world. I sit firmly on that fence, although I think I really do want to have children. I am old. It's the nicest way I can say it. I mean, let's not dance around it. I froze my eggs 2 years ago, and I wonder if those would last 46,000 years. I threw them in some permafrost. See how that works. No, I froze my eggs a couple years ago, but it's tough. Like I do wrestle with, do I want to bring a human into this world that we don't have any firm guarantees, and we've got I mean, and it's so much more than just climate change. You've got what's happening in Israel and Palestine. You've got a rise of fascism all throughout the world. It's not just here in the US, and it's terrifying, but at the same time, like, we all saw, well, I don't know, not all of us, a good portion of us saw Idiocracy, and it's, the people that are having a buttload of kids might not have access to the best education. And that's not to say, it takes a college degree to figure this out, but, you want to make sure that I would like to teach a kid to help, but, who's to say? Anyways, that is my thoughts on making a child. Although, we'll see. I don't know. I've got 10 eggs, 10 mature eggs in a freezer somewhere outside of Boston. I hope they're wicked smart, park in the car and have it yard, all that good stuff. But we'll see. I think that's everything. I'm going to get going because I'm going to jump into some research. And, but yeah, please check out the show links, on my link tree. I don't know if I have it on YouTube, but yes, I'm going to email you. And Joe, I need to come visit. I have, my best friend still lives in Rhode Island. So I need to get out there and we can have dinner and discuss earth farts, because I think they're inherently hilarious. So let's do it. Let's totally talk giant methane bubbles. Oh my God. And if you have, actually, I'll wait a couple seconds, because if you guys have any suggestions or things you would like me to talk about, please write them in the comments. I absolutely will read them, and I want to know if there's anything about my work or things that you would like me to hear my perspective on, or people that you would like to have on. I'm also, oh shit, God damn it. I forget things. Did I mention I got hit by a truck years ago? Sometimes it really shows. So I also am launching a podcast that's going to be coming out hopefully soon. This is kind of embarrassing. It's a podcast I developed in 2015 called Science for Social Change. And it was inspired by the shooting in South Carolina, in Charleston, by that absolute white supremacist shitbag, Dylan Roof. And I remember thinking, and it was a naive thought at the time, but it was just like, if people understood that race wasn't real and it was a biological, it's not a biological construct, it's a social construct, maybe that would help. I also think that people, despite learning the facts, are sometimes willfully ignorant. So I think that was a naive thought, but I still think there is some goodness to the idea that there's a lot of scientists doing outstanding work that have real life social implications and applications, and I want to feature them. So I developed this show called Science for Social Change in 2015. I was doing it with Discovery, and it didn't come to full fruition. They had a different vision for it. They wanted it to be more me just talking. I wanted to interview people, because what I'm doing right now I can do, but I feel like what's much more I don't know, engaging and fun is having that back and forth with somebody, which I plan on having more of on these lives. But I'm going to be producing Science for Social Change. I recorded 18 interviews at a conference in 2022, which is embarrassing because it was in March of 2022, so it was a while back. I've taken a while to do it because during that conference I had a lot of, you know, personal things that went down. My dad's partner passed away. I was dealing with some other personal stuff. So when I came back, it was just, you know, a long road to kind of get things to a good place. And now I'm finally getting it all together. I want to release multiple, like probably 2 or 3 at first. And then I have not read Jane Elliott's work. I'm writing that down. If I can, I have a skull. Let me find a pen. Jane Elliott. Okay. Is she, I hate to say it, is she somebody that you would like to see me talk to? Is this somebody that would be a good interview person? Because I'm totally looking for, I have lots, that's the other thing. I have so many people with Science for Social Change to interview that I love and adore, like friends that are doing amazing research. And not only that, but they bring their own lived experience to it. Oh yeah, and I also, God, I forget I did this. I produced Science for Social Change as a live stage show in New York City on the Lower East Side at a place called Caveat. And it featured Augustine Fuentes, biological anthropologist. He talked about just misconceptions about race. I had Shea Akil McLean, also talking about decolonizing science and anthropology. I had Tina Lasisi talking about her research in the evolution of hair and, you know, misconceptions about that, and her own lived experience being somebody who is from, you know, mixed race. And it was fascinating. It was great. I had my co-host was Malcolm Barrett. He was phenomenal. I've known Malcolm since 2008. God, we've met eons. We were children, infants. But he was great because it's funny, the very first time we met, we were in a short film together, or short web series, and we played like lovers, like we hook up. We're like, I played a really dumb girl, and I was just like, you know, oh my God. And we made it a party. We end up hooking up in a sauna, and then we get locked in and we die in the sauna. And the first day we met, I remember like we did the scene and we did this improv thing, and he did this funny big thing where he was like, you know, I always knew, my mama always told me I would die with a white girl. And I was like, you know, I started screaming, I'm Puerto Rican, I'm Puerto Rican. It was an improv thing. I'm not Puerto Rican. And, you know, he's like, I didn't know that. And, you know, I asked him like, do you have a gat or something? And he was like, he just looks at me and he goes, you dying racist bitch. And that was a part of the scene. And it was just funny, weird, strange that literally 10 years later, we are co-hosting this show about misconceptions and race, about race in science, but also, you know, well, across all sciences, because there has been a lot of misconceptions. So, but Malcolm was such a wonderful co-host, and he also performed too. So it was a really neat show, live show, but I think it would be a great podcast too. So I don't know. That's what I've got going on. Oh man, she's okay. Jane. Oh wait, Jane Elliott. Yes, I know who Jane Elliott is. Oh my God. Now that you say it. Yes, she's the older white lady. I know who she is. Okay. No, she would be fantastic to have on. Like, she would be fantastic. Because right now I'm gonna highlight her right now. She's great, because I love watching her when she goes into classrooms and just like rips these kids apart, but like not in a mean way, in a way that she's just like, come on guys, come on, get it together. Yeah, no, she's fire. She's spicy. Like I would, yeah. All the Janes are freaking great. You know what I mean? Like Jane Goodall. Yeah, Jane Elliott. I like these, you know, Jane's Addiction. I'm all about these spicy Janes. Sweet. Well, thanks everyone. I'm gonna jump off, get back into my work. Thanks for watching. And if you have any suggestions, let me know. Other than Jane Elliott, which I wrote down, and now I feel like a dum-dum. Okay. Thanks, guys. Raisin says goodbye to you. She's destroying a couch cushion right now. She's a couch goblin. Raisin is my dog. Okay. Mwah. I'll see you shortly. Maybe I'll make this a regular thing. Feel free to have any suggestions. I'm open.